Hi folks, today's video is going to be about Subway Tooter. It's an Android app for Mastodon, the Mastodon social network. And why I'm doing the video is that I was looking for an app that had slightly more advanced features like deletion of the notifications globally in Mastodon from my mobile app, and things like I want to follow certain custom hashtags and see them in a column like I can see on the desktop. So Subway Tooter is one of those apps that does that and a lot more. But because it's got a lot of options and it's highly customizable, it puts some people off. You look at it and you think, oh, the UI is very busy and how am I going to find my way around and use it? So I thought, you know what, let me do the video so that people can just see what it actually looks like and you can decide for yourself. I'm doing this video in vertical format. The idea is that people can watch this on their mobile devices more easily and sort of see the video. Otherwise, if I do the normal horizontal format video, I'm just worried it's not going to be that easy to see on mobile devices. So certainly if you're just looking for an easy and good looking UI app to use, Tusky is probably a very good option for most people. But if you are looking for the more advanced stuff, then have a look at this video and see if it's something that you want to make use of. I just want to say that before I start, it is quite important to consider the data privacy aspects, because I saw somebody had actually said there that they weren't going to use the app because there was way too much detail to be read about the privacy statement. And I think what we just got to remember is that the dev is being 100% open and honest about what actually happens with data or doesn't happen with data. As he's saying over here for data safety, that there is no data being shared with any third parties. He's not selling data on. But one thing to remember is that if you're making use of third-party notification, simple notification services, SNS, like is mentioned in the privacy policy, some information does get passed to make that work. And for example, to read the posts and to read the status of what you favorited or not favorited. If the app is not able to read that, you can't connect to the Mastodon service at all. So I think we just need to be sort of sane about it and think about it. It actually happens with any service. I mean, the Facebook app has to be able to read certain data so that it can connect to the Facebook backend online service. So if you look at it in that context, then it's not such an issue really, quite honestly. I've looked through it and it's pretty well normal. You can see here he's covered quite a few aspects. It's an open source app as well, so you can even look at the source code and see what's happening with it. There is going to be certain things like screen and device ID and stuff like that that has to be read, because remember, otherwise how's it going to display correctly for the type of screen layout or size screen that you're using? So there's nothing wrong. If you look at the bottom here, there is a link to the privacy policy, and that takes you to the GitHub site where the source code is, and you can go through it in a lot more detail. You can actually see there is mention of the access token for the SNS services. I mean, without the SNS services, you're not going to read it and you're not going to get any push notifications or anything else. So I think if you look at it in context, then there really should not be an issue with that. Let's have a look at the app. That's what the icon looks like. You'll see Tusky just sort of up and to the right of it there, but Subway Tooter at the bottom, I have got a notification I see. What you just saw there briefly on the screen, some people actually quite like that. I know that most apps, I've never seen an app show you that before, but actually it's showing you what it's busy reading in the background. So you can verify and actually see what it's busy accessing and reading from, which is quite an interesting concept actually. I'm not sure if you can turn it off. I haven't looked for that setting yet, but I just want to talk about this screen. This is the screen. This is what it's going to look like when you've just logged in for the first time. And this is the display you get. Basically, it's a bright colored light screen, and you'll see there's nothing at the bottom of each toot showing any options. So there's two things that I changed immediately when I started up with the app. You can find the menu on the bottom left, those three bars. If you go there and you just go down to not account settings, you go down to app settings, and you go and find color first of all, which is there about the middle. I changed the UI theme there to dark. You'll have to restart to see this, so don't worry now. Go back one and then go down to Appearance. And on Appearance, you'll see at the top there it says Simple List is ticked on at the moment. App restart required. Well, I don't know. I want the kitchen sink list, so but I'll show you what it does amongst other things. So I turn off Simple List, go back. An interesting thing, when you exit this app, I'll click the back now. It prompts to actually ask you, do you want to open the column list or do you want to close the app? Just because there are so many features and options, I think. So you close the app quickly, start the app again, and you'll see now I've got the dark theme, and at the bottom of each post or toot, do you see there's a couple of options? We'll come back to those just now. But that's all your quick options for favorite, boost, reply, look at replies, and so on. So at the top, you'll see we are on 2/6, right at the top right of the screen there. That means we're actually in column 2 out of 6 columns that we've got open. So let me just swipe left. There again, you'll see it's acquiring what it's reading. It's using the API to get to Mastodon. This one is actually the home feed. You'll see there just at the bottom on the menu bar, the little home symbol, you can see there's a little bar just above it. That indicates, and at the top right, you'll also see now it says 1 of 6. So this is actually just my plain home feed. In other words, showing who I'm actually following. And if I swipe 1 to the right, it is moved at the bottom as well to the little exclamation mark. That is, in other words, these are all my notifications. And typically with many other apps, you can respond to these and do things, but your problem often is you can't dismiss or delete the notifications and clean it up. And that's something that I like to do, whether I'm remote or on the desktop. Then another one to the right is going to take us to column 3. And this is a column, if you look at the top there, you'll see it says hashtag. So I've got a couple of custom hashtags I've set in this column. And you'll notice also I've changed the color. The color of the column is also different. You can go to town with this, and we'll see in the settings just now, you can tweak from the button sizes to the color of the buttons, the size of title font versus the body font versus whatever. Then we've got the search. I did a search for Stephen Fry at one stage, and you can see on the right-hand side, you've got a quick option as well to follow or unfollow. Notice also on search there, I've got ticked just under the search term, load non-local content. In other words, I'm saying don't just search the local instance that I belong to, search globally on Mastodon. Then the little man running over there is the column just to the right of it, and that is actually the local feed from the instance that you belong to. In my case, I'm on mastodon.social, so this is just showing mastodon.social sort of fire hose feed, everybody you're not following, and you'll see that'll be updating all the time basically. And another column off to the right, that see at the top right, we're now on 6 of 6. This is the federated global feed, the real big hose pipe of Mastodon. And you can see how fast it's busy updating. This is everything across all the instances of Mastodon. It's obviously a bit difficult to watch. I think if you start scrolling up now, it'll pause a bit so you can go a bit slower. But let's just have a look. I'm going back to the home feed. If I just take any post, let's look at how you can respond, say, to a specific post. Here is a post, and if I want to see what comments have been made, well, maybe we just need to go down a bit further to a post that's maybe a little bit older. Say here. You can see at the bottom of this particular post, it's actually showing there's 4 replies. It's just at the bottom about here where you can see the cursor now. There's 21 boosts. There's been 1 favorite. The symbol next to that is a bookmark, and you've got another option. So if you want to go and if you want to reply, you're just going to basically hit where that 4 is there and reply. But to the left of it, that little double, I don't know what that symbol actually is, but anyway, that takes you to read all the replies. If I click on there, it'll acquire, and these are the various replies that have been made to that post. What it's actually doing is, if you look at the top right, you'll see again it's 2 of 7 columns. It opens up a temporary column for you to actually read these replies. So if I hit my back button on the phone now, it's going to ask me, do I want to close that column? And I'll say yes, I want to close the column. You could leave it as if that was something you wanted to keep an eye on, you could keep that column open and just swipe back and forth over it the whole time if it was something you wanted to monitor. But that's basically how you do it. If I hit the reply button, you'll see there comes the reply. and it obviously puts the mention in for the person. You've got the usual options there to tag and activate content warnings. You can use a quote toot. So this is an extra feature obviously built into Subway Tooter. So it might not always work 100%. They're emulating certain things that you might not find on the desktop or other apps version. And as they've said, their Tusky or some customized Mastodon server might change that. So let me just cancel that. Oops, go back. I could, if I wanted to reboost this, I would just hit the little boost button there, the icon at least. If I wanted to favorite like that, I could favorite and the star changes to a 2 there. Unfavorite. So another thing, it also confirms, I did turn off 1 or 2 confirmations, but it'll even ask you, do you want to boost this, or do you want to reply? And it actually warns you sometimes your information is going to be shared. What they mean by that really is that if you make a public reply to somebody, everybody's going to be able to see your reply. It's may seem a bit obvious, but they've got to that level of detail really. Then if you look at the 3 little dots just at the bottom of the post under the image over there, if I click on that, you'll see up pops an incredibly long pop-up menu here, and you can open a web page for that. You can select and copy information from that toot like that, and you can then copy that and paste it into your own post if you want to. So there are sort of, if you're looking for things like quote retweet type things, then you could probably get those sort of things done here from inside Subway Tooter. There is translate over there. You can quote the URL. That's, in other words, directly linking back to the original post you'll be quoting on. You can share the URL, and you'll see here you've got some cross-account actions. Now this is if you've got multiple Mastodon accounts. So you could use this to reply or boost or favorite from one of your other accounts, or conversation views and so on as well. And then around this particular toot, you can look at the account timeline. That is the person that's posted. You can look at local and federated timeline around where that post appeared. Then you've got a couple of extra actions you can look at here: boosted by, favorited by, boost with visibility, and you can obviously report the toot as well, if there's something unsavory or something that has contravened the rules of the instance, the hosting instance. So boosted by, for example, will now give you a list of all the people that boosted that particular toot actually. So let me just close that column again. So we're back there. Then for the action for the user that actually made the post, you can see there right at the top there under actions for this user, you could follow the person there with a little plus symbol. You could mute them. You could block them with that symbol. You could click to open the profile. You could open the web page view of their profile. You could select and copy, send them a message. You could quote the URL. So you've got a couple of other options. And then also, again, you've got reports there and extra actions again as well. I haven't actually explored all of these extra actions. There's so many. It's just going to take, I've only been using this app about a day, and I must say it still blows my mind. Then you'll see at the bottom there, actions for the server, mastodon.art. The reason there is because the person whose toot that you're looking at the moment actually belongs to that instance. So right from here, you could jump to go and look at the local timeline there for that instance. You could go look at server information, directory. You could block the whole domain from here, or you could open it up in an admin web URL. Let's look at server information, and it opens up the information for that instance as well, and you can just get some context and see what it's about. So let's close that. So that's pretty well much that. You'll notice there just on the far right, the little Google Translate symbol. That was something I just activated in the settings as well. So you can do translations and so on, not only using Google Translate. I think there were a couple of other options, but that is also available there. And then before we go through the settings, because that really sort of is pretty well much the interface side, I can just show how to make a toot. If you look right at the bottom right, there's a little pencil there. If you touch on the pencil, you'll see it was similar to a reply, but you can type the content of your toot over there, and you'll see right at the top right, you'll see it's giving you a character count, so you can keep an eye on how many characters you've got left. You can attach with a little paperclip at the top, right at the top left. You can attach images or whatever the case is. You can change the visibility. You don't have any plugins at the moment installed, but you see there are a couple of recommended plugins that can work as well with this app. And you've got emoji pickers. You can restore from drafts and that sort of thing as well over there. And then I've already pointed out the warnings. I think the post from there, if I had multiple accounts, you could choose as well from which account you wanted to post. And yeah, oh, and the other thing, of course, also scheduled. You can also schedule your post for whenever you want that to go. And you can make a poll as well out of your post. So that really is posting. The one thing I just wanted to show also was about the deletion of the notifications. So if I now go to the notifications again over here, this is the various notifications I've got. I think I've already replied. Oh gosh, okay, I don't really want to delete this completely yet because I'll want to come back to one or two of these. But typically you could clear the column, or let me just have a look here. I think if I go to, oh yes, I did click that little 3-bar menu at the bottom right, and you'll see there right in the middle is delete this notification. So you can also delete your notifications individually. And you'll have to take my word for it right now. But so I can do it individually, but you can also delete all the notifications in the column if you want to clear your whole column. And while we're on that, I can also just show you, well, we can show here, if you've got a lot of notifications, if you look up near the top over here, you'll see there's an all. That basically saying you're seeing all the notifications. You can also hit those little icons and filter. So now it's filtering on only the notifications where somebody replied to me. You could hit the star, and that would be if you were receiving notifications for favorites, then it would show that. You could also filter on boosts only or follows only. I've turned off boosts and favorites mainly because there were so many of them, and then you just don't get to your notifications. You don't actually see where people have replied to you. But that is how you can filter on them. And the same is going to go for if you go back to the home column over here. By the way, to get to the top quickly, you just tap on home at the top left and it'll take you to the top of the column, the newest posts. So here, if you click, you'll see there's sort of 3 little slider bars at the top right over there, up here. If you click on those, you've got a couple of filters as well that you can adjust. So first of all, I've also said there, don't close the home column. If you close all columns, don't close the home column. I want this to be a sticky column and stay open. Show media descriptions. I don't know about the highlight. I've noticed I don't see anything there. But you could, for example, here also filter out here. Don't show any boosts that people have made. Don't show any replies that people have made to other people. Or don't show normal toots. I only want to see boosts or replies. Don't show non-public toots. Refresh manually. You could have a look at just the ones with attachments, and you can also enable speech, which is quite interesting. I didn't quite know how to control this. It seems to start reading the text out from the particular toot. And I'm not really too sure how to control it, in fact, but that is where you would do it. And over here, of course, is where you would change the color and the background for this column, and also whether you want a language filter for it. So I think you can just say plus. Oh, I'm not sure. I haven't set this yet, but there is a language filter as well at this level in the app that you can set as well. So you've got a lot of options. To open and close it, just hit the little 3-bar slider thing at the top again, and that will open and close. And I think the last thing to show before we go into settings is, let's just have a look at the hashtag column. So I've gone to the hashtag column here. You'll remember it's a different color. And then where you will set and change things to do with the hashtag column is again that little 3-bar slider thing at the top there. And you'll see I've got, it was originally set for hashtag South Africa. And then you'll see there's an option there, additional tags, any. In other words, any of these that appear in a post then displayed. And it says they're tags without hashtag symbol. So I just typed in there one word, South Africa, space, Cape Town, one word, space, and Majaro. The other options there are going to be, if you choose the next one and you add tags for all, it means that if you put, say, 3 tags in there, it's got to be a toot or post that contains all 3 of those tags. If it doesn't, then it's not going to show. So, for example, if you wanted Manjaro and Linux, then you could put those 2 tags, and in this column you'd only see posts that had both of those tags. Then, of course, the other one is none, is going to be the reverse filter, really. So it'll be, for example, if you want to exclude, if I don't want to see, say, anything hashtag cat, then I could actually put in there cat, and it should actually filter out anything with cat. And that really is it for adjusting the filter. Now, you can obviously have multiple of these columns. So I could have a Cape Town and a South Africa and a whatever column just for that. And I could create another column, say, for anything that is Linux, Manjaro, Arch Linux, whatever the case is. And then you could just swipe, between them, sort of thing. And obviously the color is quite easy, because the color gives you an indication, if you have changed that, as to sort of quickly what column you're actually standing on. So I think let's just have a look through some of the settings. I haven't explored all of them, but just to give you a feel of what there really is. Again, right down at the bottom left, you hit the 3-line thing there for the menu. You can see column list. Those are the couple of columns that I have got set, but you can hold it and you can drag and change the order, or you could delete them as well. I think it's left, yes, left to delete them. So that's how you'll change the column. You could close all columns, and I think that's going to close except for the ones I said don't close. You can open a column from a URL, so this would mean probably you could have an RSS feed or some other thing that you could have, and that column would be populating with whatever that is as it updates, or anything actually, but I'm just saying RSS feeds would make a lot of sense. The next couple, if you had no columns open, you could have hit things like home, notifications, direct messages as well, and then it would have opened columns like that for you. So, that's if you want to keep everything closed. You could, of course, also mark those to stay open if you wanted to. Tusky, I haven't actually had a look at. I've already got local and federated open. Lists is actually where you follow particular people. So you could actually have a name for this list, and you could have multiple people in it if you wanted to. And then this again could become it is a column. You can see it's actually opened a column. And then I would have to just close that column. So you've got a ton of view options. I don't know what the antenna list is for Tusky 12 Plus, to be honest. There's the followed hashtags. That's the one that I used that opened the hashtags column, and then I could make all the settings and the changes at the top. The search one I have shown already. That is a column that I've already got open. And then you've got things like trending tags, trending links, and trending posts. So we could just quickly look at trending tags. That's how it shows the tags for you that are trending. And you could keep this open, as I said. Then we've got trending links. That could be interesting, actually. I haven't seen that before. So these are links that have been trending. And trending posts. And I can keep it open or close that. These are if I've got favorites, or if I've bookmarked posts that I've done reactions on. Profile pretty well much just opens up your Mastodon profile for editing. You can also look if you've got follow requests, suggestions, endorse in your profile. Well, that's interesting. I haven't seen that before. You can look at your muted users, blocked users. You can set keyword filters. You can check your blocked domains and unblock whether you've got any scheduled statuses. And yeah, you can also ban words, mute apps, and a couple of other things. But I think the last thing, let's just have a look at the app settings. So app settings, notifications, these are the couple of things you can tweak and set there. Behavior, behavior of the back button, how it exits the app. So this is where you can set up some defaults about that prompt that pops up, I would imagine. Keep the screen on. Prioritize Google Chrome if custom tabs is turned on. This is your post options. It's got tablet mode as well, so you can do some tweaking and settings specifically for a tablet view. This is for your media attachments like your images and so on. Background pattern, media thumbnail, so you can do some setting changes here. Don't crop, vertical arrange thumbnails. Oh, that's for the viewer, sorry, I think. Animations you can set over there. Appearance we had a very brief look at, but the rest here is show follow buttons in the button bar. Don't show a preview card. Show relative timestamps or actual time. You can change your time zone, override it as well there. Always show a specific language. Here you can also control the preview card, how much that it actually shows you. So you can see it says there preview card description character limit at 64, but you could shorten that if you wanted to or lengthen it. Show the replies count. I'm not sure what the 0, 1 or 1 plus is. I think it'll just show there nothing, 1 or more than 1, but not show you the actual numbers. The actual obviously is the real numbers, or you can turn that off. And the same for boosts and favorites and so on. Visibility of name and icon, fit to column. And there's some font settings over here as well. You can see the timeline font, the bold timeline font size, account font size. So each of these is different areas of the text that you can change. Boost, now this is interesting. Look, there's also the boost button. You can change the alignment. You can see there the button size, the 35 default. So again, you can tweak the button sizes bigger or smaller. Don't round corners of an avatar. You can get pretty lost with the settings. But like I said, don't let it put you off. You don't have to change all these things. You can change all these things if you want to. I think that was appearance. Color we saw already for the theme, but you can change divider, link colors, Toot background color, the event background color, button accent colors there, custom color, the footers color, navigation bar, search bar, announcements, verified link, foreground color. So that verified link, remember, is the one that you see on someone's profile when they've verified themselves, self-verification, to things like their website domain, GitHub site. Keybase, I think, is the other one, and there's a couple of others possibly. Then on performance settings, you've got a couple here that you can tweak as well. There's a couple of developer options. Check for beta release. Drawable list, exit reasons. How interesting. Gosh, okay, not too sure exactly, but that's quite interesting. Then you can export the app data. Oh, I'm not going to see exactly there, and you can also import data. So I would imagine that's moving between different hardware devices, phones, or whatever the case is, to be able to export and import. Remember, it looks like they're not syncing your data, and your settings and your various things in this app are not being synced via their servers or anything like that. It's all on your device. So that would be your options to back it up and to restore it. And yeah, that's pretty well much really actually it. That is Subway Tooter. But I think you'll agree there's an absolute kitchen sink and more of options that you can actually tweak and change. And like I said, I know that this view, the actual column view, is possibly a little bit flat. It doesn't sort of have that rounded feeling maybe of the UI that Tusky and the others have got. What I must maybe experiment a bit with is that link bar or line between the toots, and maybe see if that can't, if it's not some way that can be customized or raised a little bit. But otherwise, I think from a functionality perspective, really Subway Tooter really beats sort of everything hands down, quite honestly. If you are interested, give it a bash. You'll see I've got 2 running. There's nothing wrong with having 2 different Mastodon apps or more running. The only thing that will be confusing is you might get a lot of notifications. So you might want to turn off notifications from a second or third app that you've got installed or are busy testing. But otherwise, give it a go and see what you think. I'm actually pretty impressed at the moment. I'm going to make it my main Mastodon app for the moment on my mobile device anyway. So that's really that. Hope you found some of that interesting. And yeah, keep safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.